Hey, beautiful people. My name is Vanessa Dyer. I'm a holistic dietitian helping women in perimenopause navigate changes in their bodies. Now, you're probably thinking, what the heck is perimenopause? So, perimenopause is the time before menopause. Menopause is actually a one time event when a woman does not get her period 12 months in a row. So, it's really important. And then immediately after is postmenopause. So, perimenopause is a time before menopause, and it is a hormonal roller coaster. Before I jump into the symptoms, first I'll describe perimenopause as you feel like a stranger in your own body. So, imagine watching yourself through a window and seeing yourself acting a different way, looking a different way, and saying different things than what you're familiar with. So, perimenopause can start in your 30s. It can start as young as 35, even younger. The average age is 40s, mid 40s. So if you go to your doctor, if you are in your 30s and you go to your doctor with different perimenopause symptoms that you feel like you're having and they reject you, they say, oh, you're too young to be going through perimenopause. Get a new doctor. Please get a new doctor because it's all over the internet. I don't understand why providers still don't think that women in their 30s are too young to be experiencing perimenopause when if you Google it, it says 30s, 35, 40, in mid 40s. I don't get that. So let's jump into the symptoms. So first, it's super important to know that everyone is going to experience a different set of symptoms. Some women might not even experience some symptoms their symptoms might be so minimal that they just disregard them. Another thing is a lot of women are going through perimenopause and they don't realize it because they just equate it to being older, or that's just part of being a mom. That might be something they heard from their provider or from their peers, when really they're suffering in silence because they're going through perimenopause. First, I'll talk about the most common symptoms, then I'll go into the least common symptoms. So a lot of women might experience weight gain. There might be fatigue. So a very intense feeling of just always being tired. Like you don't even have enough energy to wake up in the morning, to do your favorite hobby, to work. A lot of women might actually quit their jobs. It's really heartbreaking. Another one is actually mood changes. So that could be feeling sad, feeling depressed, getting irritable, getting angry. Decision making might be screwed up. So you just feel like you're having such a hard time making a decision. Brain fog is like, okay, what was I just doing? What was I just saying? It can also be word scramble, like you have a hard time getting your words out into sentences. Insomnia, whether that's having trouble falling asleep or waking up at 2, 3 a.m. Night sweats, hot flashes, changes in skin. So it could be dry skin, oily skin, even acne, maybe even rashes or hives, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, period. So changes in your period can be so different. So it could be anything that's not normal for you. So if you used to have heavy periods and now it's light, or if you used to have light periods, now it's heavy, your periods are a lot shorter or your periods are a lot longer. There might be changes in your hair loss due to high testosterone levels. I would say least common symptoms are ear ringing, dry eye, nosebleeds, joint pain, chronic pain in general. But honestly, hormones are like the remote control to our body. So honestly, anything can happen. If you're questioning if something is hormonal, there's a possibility when we go through changes, it's not always perimenopause. And that's why I always highly encourage women to track their symptoms. So before I get into that, I just want to say that perimenopause can last a couple of years to 17 years. That can be a mental torture for some women, because imagine you're gaining weight, constantly feel bloated, you have no energy, you can't sleep, and you're getting hot random times of the day for 17 years. That is horrible, but we do not have to suffer. I highly encourage that people track their symptoms for different reasons. One, you don't want things staying up in here. It is very stressful on you and and on your mind. So much better if you write things out and sees everything as a whole. Instead of saying, okay, is this perimenopause? Is this perimenopause? How long have I been feeling like this? Has it been a week? Has it been 2 weeks? Has it been 3 weeks? Was I also experiencing this? I don't remember. Oh, I think I was also experiencing that, but maybe not. I can't remember. Don't put yourself through that. There are apps that track symptoms. There's one called Balance app. There's also, you can journal. You can also just make your own symptom tracker. I made this symptom tracker for my beautiful Peri Collective members, for people who are like me, who are old fashioned and need to write things out. And I just put some common symptoms of perimenopause on there, and you just mark off the days that you are experiencing it out of the month, and you just keep a record. But also, when you do go to provider, you can present your symptoms to them like, hey, I've been experiencing some brain fog, some difficulty concentrating. I also notice that I wake up at 2 in the morning and I've been feeling a little bloated. Again, if they reject the idea, please get another provider. Another reason why it's good to track is when you are making health, lifestyle, and or diet changes, you can see what's changed, what's working, what's not working. And so, like I said before, some things can show as perimenopause when it might not be perimenopause. So, for example, I'm going to use myself. I noticed that a couple of days before my period, I was experiencing itchy skin. Itchy skin is a hormonal perimenopausal symptom. Like, I got body butter that I use at nighttime and just like focused on those areas. And then I realized, after I was having some hair issues that I was having actually like 10 years ago, did I notice it was actually the water? Because where I live, the water here is so hard. And I was doing some research and was like, oh my God, I think it's the water. And behold, it was the water. So I got a filter for the shower, and now my hair is getting a lot better. And also my skin just no longer itches after like a week after using this filtered water. But the reason why it was showing up more a couple days before my period is because when hormones drop, our body is more vulnerable. So when it comes to perimenopause, a lot of people miss something very, very important. And that's the health consequences of our body going through these drastic hormonal changes. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel better. Like, who wants to have night sweats and constantly change your sheets and your pajamas throughout the night? I had night sweats actually when I was in high school and in my early 20s, because my cortisol levels were really, really high and I was on birth control. That's not fun, to change your sheets in the middle of the night and to change your pajamas constantly. And nobody wants to feel crap. I completely understand that, but some people only focus on that, and that's not good. Because there's changes going on inside that we cannot feel. You cannot feel your cholesterol going up. You cannot feel your bone density decreasing. You cannot feel your muscle mass decreasing. And you can't feel your brain integrity changing, like the neurons in our brain lose their function, which increases our risk for dementia. And a lot of people don't think about things like that, like heart disease, dementia, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis. So we need to set our health up for success. See what I did there? We need to set our health up for success, not just focus on the way that we're feeling. When we're going through perimenopause, or even before that, so like in our 30s and we are going through perimenopause, that is really the time to focus on our health. Because if you don't, there's going to be consequences that you do not want to have or deal with later. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. See you next time.